Skinny Holloway Southern T back with another EP. Y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that thumbs up for your boy when you roll on in. If it's your first time, do your boy solid. Don't make it your last time. Hit that subscription button there as well. We talk this good boxing, MMA, sports, parlays, predictions every single day. Today we here with a boxing EP. I ain't gonna waste too much of y'all time, but before I get into it, let me say what's up to everybody in the building. Shout out my guy Zoomverse, T-Dub-T in the building. My girl Tay-Tay, MMA, T-Dub-T in the building. My guy Marky Dan, appreciate you sliding through this thing. T-Dub-T in the building. And the chill session coming up real quick, but I want to run something by y'all, man. I had saw something on the internet right that caught my eye. Saw something on social media that caught my eye. I had to run it by y'all because it was interesting none the least, I should say, right? Now we know the biggest fight in boxing has happened, right? We have moved on to new big fights we want to see, right? But the biggest fight in boxing in the last 10 years, right, has happened. Errol Spence versus Bud Crawford. Crawford was victorious in said fight. Now, Errol Spence, he took the loss, but rumors and rumblings, started to spread. Was Errol Spence okay? Was Errol Spence injured? You had some Errol Spence fans feel like, Terrence Crawford waited Errol Spence out too long in order for the fight. But let's put all that aside. We all know that it was a rematch clause in the contract. It was a rematch clause. What's good, Tay? Shout out my guy Tay. Appreciate you sliding through. My girl Shay Girl was good. Shay Girl, I appreciate you sliding through. So it was a rematch clause in the contract that Errol Spence and Bud Crawford were supposed to. It was y'all see if y'all see anybody coming in here trying to throw me off a little bit, don't block them, but just shoot them a little bit because I want to get through this EP, and I want to get through this EP, but I digress. It was about we all know that it was a rematch clause, you know what I mean? In it, the winner will be able to pick, the weight class and when the rematch happened, right? So Errol Spence ended up losing the fight, so Bud Crawford was in control of when the rematch was going to happen and when it was going to go down, right? So here, Bo McIntyre, Bud Crawford was giving him, he's on word, man. Yes, for sure, Teddy. Bud Crawford was, Bud Crawford was in charge of rather, Errol Spence and Bud Crawford fought again. Now, when Errol Spence lost, they asked Errol Spence did he want to activate his rematch clause. Errol Spence indeed did want the second fight with Bud Crawford, but Bud Crawford wanted to have the rematch at 147. Now, that's where I thought, it looked a little weird, right? Because if you're going to fight Errol Spence at 147, cool. That probably meant that you were going to stay at 147, right? But we all know, you fast forward the time, Bud Crawford is about to have his first fight at 154 anyway, right? So I got video of McIntyre basically admitting to, trying to weight drain Errol Spence. He alluded to Errol Spence already being, drained before the fight, and he confirmed for sure that they weren't going to fight Errol Spence at 154, but they ended up moving up to 154 anyway. So if you're going to move up to 154 anyway, why not, go ahead and have the rematch and fight Errol Spence at 154? Because we would much rather see Bud versus Errol Spence 2 rather than Bud versus Madrimov, right? So Bud decided to fight Madrimov anyway at 154. And here, I'm going to play this audio for y'all. I'm going to let y'all see the video. I'm going to play this audio for y'all. But Bo McIntyre admits to them, only wanting to fight Errol Spence at 147 and then continuing to move to 154 after the fact. But I'm about to play the audio for y'all. Y'all take a peek.
You guys had such a dominant performance against Errol. He has this fight coming up with Sebastian Fundora. He's mentioned, hey, if he's successful, he would like to have the rematch. Do you foresee it?
So here you see, so what was being said was Errol Spence has already indicated that he wants to have the rematch with Terrence Bud Crawford. He's about to fight Fundora at 154. Now we know that Terrence Bud Crawford is about to fight at 154 now. But what Errol Spence wanted was he wanted Terrence Bud Crawford to fight him at 154 first. But Bud Crawford wanted to stay at 147 only for Errol Spence, and he ended up moving up to 154 anyway. He didn't want Errol Spence to have, those extra pounds. Listen to what Bo Mac had to say after that.
All happening? If he wanted the rematch, he would have took it at 47.
Bo Mac said if he wanted the rematch, he would have took it at 47.
I don't want to hear that. He's just going and do his fight and do what he needs to do to finish out his career.
So Bo Mac said if he wanted the rematch, he would have took it. He would have took it at 47. So that's basically him saying that even like they will only fight Errol Spence at 147. They still moved up to the 154-pound weight class to fight Madrimov anyway the next fight. So they were always going to move up to the next weight class anyway. They just wanted to make Errol Spence fight Bud Crawford again at 147. They wanted Errol Spence to have to make that weight at 147. And I think that's whack because Errol Spence made a lot of adjustments. He bent a lot. He made a lot of alterations to what was going on for Bud Crawford. And Bud Crawford couldn't even extend the favor in giving him a fair fight at 154 pounds. He he even he said, I know they swept them glove leaking under the rug. Shout out my girl Chastity Tom. She said it doesn't happen when Earl wants it to, and that's the point. He said he tried to jump in front of Bud for the Fundora fight, but Bud waited for Spence all that time, and he played games. Now Errol Spence got the Fundora fight. What I'm saying is this is before the Fundora fight though. Like Errol Spence and Fundora wasn't even supposed to fight. Bud and Madrimov wasn't even supposed to happen, right? Because Errol Spence, we supposed to be getting Bud and Errol Spence 2 is what I'm saying, y'all, at 54. That's the fight that we're supposed to be getting next, right? Now, I'm not mad at Errol versus Fundora. Bud versus Madrimov doesn't really move me like that, but it makes sense for Bud because it's the legacy fight for Bud. But what I'm saying is Bud literally moved up to 154 anyway, but it had a problem. But he had a problem with moving up to fight Errol Spence at the next weight class. They were going to make Errol Spence stay at 47. Look at what Bo Mac said after he asked the question. I'm gonna play one more time for y'all.
You guys had such a dominant performance against Errol. He has this fight coming up with Sebastian.
And Chastity, could you do your boy a favor, Chastity? Because this is my first time seeing you here, and I'm glad you're here. Could you do your boy a favor? Could you hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel? But hear him out though. Listen to what Bo Mac said. He said if he wanted the rematch, he would have took it at 47. But their next fight is at 54 anyway. So why not just fight him at 54?
Fundora, he's mentioned, hey, if he's successful, he would like to have the rematch. Do you foresee it at all happening? If he wanted the rematch, he would have took it at 47.
He said if he wanted the rematch, he would have took it at 47. So they were going to make Errol Spence fight him at 47. But in this fight, they're moving up to 54. So their intent was always to. Appreciate you. Shout out my girl Chastity for that subscription. Let me drop the flames for you for becoming a part of the game. My guy DP Rocker. My guy DP Rocker said Earl and Devin got played. They gotta do better and not trusting the opponent. Most definitely. Like thinking everybody on the evil playing field was good. Shout out my guy AB the IT was good. AB, I'll make sure I speak to everybody. Tell my guy AB the IT. My girl Shay girl, she said, I mean, definitely I suspect as much. Ain't that something? My thing is that he basically admitted to they were only going to make Errol fight at 47. He said they won Bud job. Yeah, basically, Teddy, right? They for Errol Spence, they was not going to do nothing other than 47. But the next move you made was literally a move up to 54. So so they knew that, you know what I mean, Errol Spence had trouble making their way. That's what I'm saying, all right? They knew that Errol Spence had trouble making their way, right? You know what I mean? The whole thing was right, who didn't want to fight, who wanted to fight, right? Who didn't want to fight, right? I think this kind of just proves that, Terrence Crawford waited Errol Spence out in the beginning, And also, we know for a fact that they wanted no smoke with Errol Spence at 154, right? Because he literally just said if they want to rematch, they would have took it at 47. All the meanwhile, their next opponent is going to be fighting at 154. Their next match is literally at 154. And I'm finna play the audio again. I'm gonna let it finish this time. I'm gonna play it again. What's good, beat out?
You guys had such a dominant performance against Errol. He has this fight coming up with Sebastian Fundora. He's mentioned, hey, if he's successful, he would like to have the rematch. Do you foresee it at all happening?
If he wanted the rematch, he would have took it at 47. I don't want to hear that. He's just going and do his fight and do what he needs to do to finish out his career.
So, so basically, Bo Max said basically what he said was if Errol Spence wanted the rematch, he would have took it at 54. My thing is, my thing is, Queen, my girl Chess Thomas said, do you really think Spence can beat Bud at 154? Like, really? I think that it's understood that it was hard for Earl to make that weight at the point of his career. Right? So I think that Team Crawford knows that it's going to be a much tougher fight at 154. I do think he has a much better chance at beating him at 154 than I do 47, right? Bud Crawford really said it back in the day, right? He really said it, which is why, like, he said, when I do beat him, y'all go say he was weight drained and he stayed at 147 too long, right? So they always knew that, he would be at 147 for too long. I think that's kind of what happened. You know what I mean? I think that's why it didn't happen right after. You know what I mean? But I think this is admittance for sure of the the weight advantage. Like I feel like they I feel like they played the weight game with him. You know what I mean? And they were going to continue to play the weight game with him, right? I feel like they played the waiting game in the beginning and even in the rematch, right? We really supposed to be getting, Crawford versus Bud too, right? If they had a both, if they both had a if they had a she said Bud only let me rinse you up, Quinn. Let me rinse you up. Let me give you a rinse. I see you I see I like you. I like you. I like you engaged in her. You engaged in her, Queen. Let me rinse you up, Queen, so nobody don't feel no type of way about you. So nobody don't feel no type of way about you. But what I was saying was we supposed to be getting Earl and Bud next, right at 54. I mean, with all the things that Errol Spence did for Bud Crawford leading up to this, man, right? That fight, man, Bud could have gave him a run at 54. My thing is he had one request, and that was the fight at 154. If everybody's saying, "Oh, this man would have beat you at one weight class," right? I'm going to drop. She said, "I won't sack her." Yeah, let me get y'all. Yeah, let me get y'all right because I know how y'all get. I know how y'all get. I know how y'all get. This is supposed to be an info tea. This is supposed to be an informational tea, but y'all came here wanting to rap and whatnot. Yeah, let me get you right. Let me get you right, Queen. Because I know they get. Now don't end up being a whole different person on me right now. I done gave people rings and they ended up being whole different people, right? You know what I mean? Just make sure you stay chastity tongues. Uh, you know what I mean? He said whether he credited him or not isn't the point. That it's about. Yeah. That's basically what I'm getting at, B dog. You know what I mean? He gave him a shot. Now I feel like he at least could have gave Errol a shot at 154. I do think it's a better fight, Chastity. I do think it's a better fight at 154, and especially like if I'm Bud, I want to I want to put an end to all. I want to end all the conversation, and the conversation is not right. Errol Spence would have beat you. I'm chill and stay fat and love boxing. Well, you gonna be all right over here, right? The thing is, right? What we saying right now is if there's even a chance that people or Errol Spence may think he could beat you at a different weight class, shouldn't you, as a boxer, shouldn't you, being the champion that you are, want to give him a shot to fight at his best? You know what I mean? Especially, right? We saying especially if Earl made if Earl conceded so much to you, right, the first time around to make it happen. Because even Terrence Crawford said Errol Spence is the one that made this happen, right? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But I do feel like, they kind of waited him out a little bit. And I think this most definitely confirmed, them feeling more comfortable fighting Earl at 47 than 54. The first fight was going to always be at 47, right? And I feel like the play in that came to, waiting so long to after, Errol Spence's last fight, right? But I also feel like, man, at some point you gotta look in the mirror, man. You gotta look in the mirror like you got the win, right? But to everybody, their win wasn't all the way, righteous. Their win wasn't all the way, correct. But I feel like without a shot of a doubt, if you want to put an end to everything, why not go ahead and fight him at 54? Especially if you're already going to 154, right? Why was it so important that you only fought Errol Spence at 147 pounds, right? Bomac completely threw it away. He completely threw it away, right? He completely threw it away. He said he said if he wanted to rematch, he would have took it at 47, all the while having his current fight at 154. So you can fight Madrimov at 154, but not Errol Spence at all, right? I think it's a better fight. I think he at least owe it to the fans. The fans want to see it. The fans want to see it for sure because you got half the fans who feel like he watched Errol Spence, he gonna beat early either weight class like my girl Chastity, and then you got another half of the fans who believe that Errol Spence will have a much better shot at 154. And look how successful their first fight was. Biggest fight of both their careers. Biggest fight of both their careers. You know what I mean? Why not run it back? Especially with the belief, right, that Errol Spence stands a better chance at a higher weight class. But I'm about to play it one more time. He said, if Bud wants to fight, it will happen. Right, Chaz. That's what I'm saying, Chastity. But now we seeing that Bud didn't want to fight, right? Errol Spence, the whole rematch thing, people were saying Errol ran out of time. Errol ducked the rematch. Like y'all remember that? The whole Errol ducked the rematch situation? Well, this most definitely proves that Errol Spence did not duck the rematch, right? Bud Crawford wanted to have the rematch at 147. Errol Spence wanted to have the rematch at 154. Bud Crawford would not move off the 147 weight limit. But in his next fight, he moved off the 147-pound weight limit. I'm going to play again.
Rematch, he would have took it at 40.
You guys had such a dominant performance against Errol. He has this fight coming up with Sebastian Fundora. He's mentioned, hey, if he's successful, he would like to have the rematch. Do you foresee it at all happening?
If he wanted the rematch, he would have took it at 47.
He said if he wanted the rematch, he would have took it at 47. Well, y'all fighting at 154 right now. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. That is crazy. It's pretty underhanded that no intention of staying at 47. It was just a tactic to not honor the rematch. Right, B-Dog. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, they didn't even stay at 47. They was just going to make Errol stay at 47. You know what I mean? They were never going to stay at 47. If you staying there, if you making Errol fight at 47, then that must mean you was fighting Jerome Bruce Ennis. So effectively, he ducked Jerome Bruce Ennis at 47, and he ducked Errol at 54. Right now, duck it's a strong word. Maybe it's the wrong word, right? But especially if you already beat a guy. But with that being said, I most definitely feel like Bomac understands that Errol Spence is a different fighter, right? It's a different kind of fight at that higher weight class. You know what I mean? Because they weren't going to let Errol Spence get no shot at 54, but they most definitely went to 54 after the fact on their own. And I was supposed to be here 8 minutes, but y'all came in this thing hot. So, I had to rap with y'all. So I'm going to rap with y'all about another 4 minutes, man. Y'all want to get y'all last verse out, y'all get y'all last verse. I'm about to come back on my gambling stream, right? And then we go gamble. I'm about to come back on my gambling stream, right? And then we go gamble, right? But I just thought that was interesting, man. How we really are supposed to be getting Bud versus Errol 2 weeks from now. at 154. But because Terrence Crawford wasn't going to give Errol Spence a chance at 154, it's the reason that we won't be getting these fights. But I do like how Errol Spence is about to fight at 154. He's about to fight Sebastian Fundora and Bud Crawford. And Bud Crawford is about to fight at 154 as well, but he's about to fight Majimo. Depending on what Errol Spence looks like, if Bud Crawford's going to be at 54, if Errol Spence beats Fundora, if Errol Spence beats Fundora for the WBC title, and Bud Crawford beats Majimo for that WBA title, if I'm not mistaken, with the WBA WBO, he beats him for that title. Eventually, Bud and Earl are going to have to cross paths again. It's going to be at 154. So I think eventually we will see this fight again. My thing is, right? I think eventually we should, right? If it happens the right way. But I'm gonna be honest, dealing with Bud Crawford, man, you just never know. But I think even if this fight doesn't happen next year, it's gonna happen again at 54 because guess who I think are going to be the top guys at 154, right? Errol Spence, Bud Crawford. Those guys. You know what I mean? I think those guys are going to be able to continue their same success. Errol Spence has got a hell of a task in front of him. But one thing I know for sure, if Errol Spence can handle that task in front of him, he most definitely could be anybody at 154. We're going to know everything we need to know about Errol Spence and what's going forward with him in the next fight. Everything we need to know about Errol Spence, we'll know in his next fight versus Fundora. It ain't going to be no way, for him to it ain't no warm up right for that. You either still championship level or you're not. And if Errol Spence comes out there and he beats Fundora, then I think that's the start of another conversation. But if Errol Spence comes out there and he loses, then that's probably Errol Spence. I already said that could be his last fight. But I think this Fundora fight most definitely gonna answer the test. But I say just look at both of their next fights and that tell you what kind of champions and what kind of people that those guys are. Right? Y'all both fighting at 154, and y'all really supposed to be fighting one another. We supposed to be getting Errol and Bud back to back. Right now, Errol versus Fundora is still a banger fight, but I think Errol versus Bud is a better fight even than that one. It's most definitely a better fight than Bud versus Majimo, right? Bud and Errol. Spence and Fundora, that's a pretty good fight. But I think if we had to choose, we would want to see Bud Crawford versus Errol Spence two at the 154-pound division because you got a whole group of people, right, who believe that Bud Crawford go beat him in any weight class. So why not go ahead and see Bud Crawford beat him in any weight class? Makes the most sense. Bud makes his most money, and it's Errol Spence. You know what I mean? And then you got a whole set of people who believe that Errol Spence is going to be a different fighter at 154. Right? So that fight is going to sell. That fight is going to sell. You know what I mean? Bud Crawford is as hot as he's ever been. Right? If Errol really, this is going to hinge on if Errol Spence beats Fundora because if Errol Spence beats Fundora, you know what everybody's going to say. See, it most definitely was the way. Now you got Bud Crawford coming out and saying that, basically that we was forced to him to fight at 47. This 154 Spence, you know what I mean? May most definitely be. I feel like that's him saying that this 154 Spence most definitely may be a little different. But that's all I got for y'all. But I ain't gonna keep y'all here too long. Skin the Hardaway Southern T. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but this the present. That's how we rocking. And I'm out. Look.